फ्रेंड कैसे हैं आप लोग अच्छे होंगे। चलिए फ्रेंड, आज की वीडियो में हम लोग बात करने वाले हैं नाटो के बारे में। जी हाँ फ्रेंड, नाटो के बारे में जानेंगे पूरा डिटेल में, तो चलिए देखते हैं। तो बात करते हैं पहले द ओरिजिन्स ऑफ द अलायंस के बारे में। तो इन द आफ्टर मथ ऑफ द सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वार, ईस्ट एंड वेस्ट यूरोप फाउंड देमसेल्फ द सेपरेटेड बाय द आइडियोलॉजिकल एंड पॉलिटिकल डिवीजन ऑफ द कोल्ड वार। Eastern Europe fell under the domination of the Soviet Union in 1949. 12 countries from both sides of the Atlantic formed the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, that is NATO, to counter the risks that the Soviet Union would seek to extend its control of the Eastern Europe of the part of the continent. Between 1947 and 1952, the Marshall Plan provided the means of the establishing Western European economic. NATO's role as a political and military alliance was to provide for the collective defense against any form of the aggression and to maintain a secure environment for the development of democracy and the economic growth in the world. Words of the then as then US President Harry S. Truman and Marshall Plan and NATO were two helps of the same volunteer. The founding members of NATO: Belgium, Canada, Denmark, France, Ireland, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, United Kingdom, and the United States, committed themselves to come to each other's defense in the event of the military aggression against any one of them. Accordingly, NATO member states increased their efforts to develop the military structures needed to implement their commitment to joint defense. Nevertheless, NATO remained a politically lead organization catering for the interest of all its the members. तो ये था। उसके बाद फिर है बाय binding North America to the defense of Western Europe, the alliance would demonstrate then demonstrate that any attempt and political and the military concerns against the Western Europe would fail. Simultaneously, it would provide a framework for the preventing the resurgence of the militant nationalism in यूरोप। उसके बाद फिर दिया है इन ऑल दीज रिस्पेक्ट द अलायंस मोर देन द सर्व इट्स द पर्पस द presence of North American forces on the European soil at the request of European government helped to discourage any attempt to threaten or the politically coerce allied the countries. The moreover, as a time the past former advisories become allies in the 1952, Greece and Turkey joined the alliance forward. They 3 years later by the Federal Republic of Germany and in 1982 by Spain. उसके बाद फिर दिया है through the alliance Western Europe and North America not only jointly defend their independence but also achieved and the unprecedented level of the stability. Indeed, the security provided by NATO has been described as the oxygen of prosperity, which lead the basis of European economic cooperation and the integration. उसके बाद फिर दिया it also paved the way for the end of the Cold War and of the division of Europe at the beginning of the 1990. उसके बाद shaping the alliance की बात करें during the Cold War, NATO's role and the purpose were clearly defined by the existence of the threat posed by the Soviet Union. By the early 1990, the Warsaw Pact and when the dissol- dissolved at the insistence of the newly liberated countries of the Eastern Europe and the Soviet Union, and collapsed with the disappearance of traditional advisories. Some Some common matters believed that the need for the National Atlantic Treaty Organization had also been removed, and that the future defense, the expenditure, and the investment in armed forces should be the dramatically reduced. उसके बाद फिर दिया in spite of the designation of the Soviet Union, however, hope for a peace dividend the probed the parameter. It's soon become the apparent that although the end of the Cold War might have been removed the direct military threats, instability in some part of Europe had the increased the number of regional conflicts, often the fueled by the ethnic and the religious tensions broke out in broke out in the former Yugoslavia and in parts of the former Soviet Union, and the threatened to spread. National Atlantic Treaty Organization countries rapidly came to the conclusion that the commitment to the collective defense and the cooperation achieved through National Atlantic Treaty Organization counted to the provide the best guarantee for their security. उसके बाद फिर दिया मोर ओवर ऑल दो द prospect of military invention might be the negligible new forms of the political and military cooperation would be the called for a deal with new challenges such as the ethics, the conflicts, and to foster the stability and security in the wider Europe. उसके बाद दिया है with this goal in mind, National Atlantic Treaty Organization has over the past decade evolved from the being the exclusively a tightly knit alliance with the responsibility for the collective defense to becoming the focus for a partnership of the nation cooperating in the wider field of security. From 1991 onwards, the regular contacts were stabilized with former Warsaw Pact countries and the newly independent republics of the former Soviet Union, firstly through the establishment of the North Atlantic Cooperation Council, which was since the renamed the Euro-Atlantic Partnership Council, and the subsequently through the Partnership for Peace. उसके बाद फिर दिया नेशनल अटलांटिक ट्रीटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन also underwent to a process of the radical internal challenge to respond to Europe's new security situation. In the particular, it began to transform its the military structure and forces to the enable it to the undertake crisis management, the peacekeeping, and the peace support tasks in the cooperation with its the new partners countries. उसके बाद फिर दिया है well before this process was the complete, the alliance was in fact the already undertaking military operations to monitor and the enforce United Nations resolution relating to the former Yugoslavia, with the signature of the Dayton Agreement, which ended the war in the Bosnia and the Herzegovina in the 1995. The National Atlantic Treaty Organization then played a key role by the establishing the implementation forces, that is IFOR, and the subsequently the sustainable forces, that is SFOR, order to ensure that the agreement was the implemented and prepare a basis for the future peace. उसके बाद फिर ये few years later, in 1999, the alliance intervened in the Kosovo by the launching an air campaign against the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia in the order to halt the massive human rights violations against the Kosovar Albanians and to prevent the spread of the conflict in the region. उसके बाद फिर दिया नेशनल अटलांटिक Treaty Organization has also introduced a number of other initiatives to meet the future security challenges. Among the most important of these are the defense capabilities initiatives, that is the DCI, the development of the European security and defense identity within the alliance, ESDI, and the establishment of a weapons of mass destruction center, which seeks to improve the alliance's ability to respond to the threat posed by such the weapons and to prevent their spread. उसके बाद फिर दिया है द डिफेंस कैपेबिलिटी द इनिशिएटिव्स ये initiative is the designed to ensure that all the allies not only the remain the interoperable but that they also improve and update their capability to face the new security challenges through the DCI. उसके बाद फिर the allies are focusing on the focusing on those areas that are the crucial for the current and future operations, such as the mobility of forces, their logical support and their command and control. उसके बाद फिर दिया the purpose of the strengthening the European side of the alliance through the ESDI is to enable the European alliance to assume the greater responsibilities in the security and the defense field, drawing on the National Atlantic Treaty Organization assist and the capabilities. The European allies would be able to conduct the operation in which the alliance as a whole is not engage the military. Such operation might be conducted, for the example, under the leadership of the European Union. Agreements are currently being worked out between National Atlantic Treaty Organization and the European Union to make this possible. Strengthening the role played by the European countries will also result in a fairer distribution of the burdens and the responsibilities of security between the two sides of the Atlantic, creating a more newly balanced the transatlantic relationship adapted to the needs of the 21st century. उसके बाद ये how NATO works. So one of the keys in NATO success is its the decision making process based on the concerns conscious. There is no system of voting and all decisions have to be unanimous. Extensive consultation and the discussions are often required before an important decision can be taken. Although this system may appear slow and the unwidely to and the outer side the observer, it has two major advantages. Firstly, the sovereignty and independence of each member country is the respected, and the secondly, when a decision is reached, it has the full backing of all the members countries and their the commitment to the implement it. उसके बाद फिर दिया the most important decision making body in the NATO is the North Atlantic Council, one which each member country is respected by the permanent representative with the rank of the ambassador, supported by a delegation cons- national delegation consisting of the diplomatic staff and advisors. The council meets a ambassadorial level at least once a week. There are also regular meeting of the council at the level of the foreign ministry, defense ministry, and from time to time head of state and government. उसके बाद फिर दिया द नॉर्थ अटलांटिक काउंसिल हैज द एस्टेब्लिश many committees and the planning groups to the support its work. This body also meet at different levels, either at the political headquarters of NATO is the Brussels or in different member countries. उसके बाद फिर दिया है NATO is the headed by the Secretary General, who is appointed by the approximately 4 years. He is the senior international statesman from one of the member countries. उसके बाद the Secretary General chairs the meeting of the North Atlantic Council and other important NATO bodies and helps to build the consensus among the member nations in managing day-to-day the activities of the alliance. He is supported by and the international staff. उसके बाद फिर दिया नेशनल अटलांटिक ट्रीटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन does not have independent armed forces of its own, most forces available to NATO remain under full national command and control until they are assigned by the member countries to undertake tasks remaining for the collective defense to new missions such as the peacekeeping and the peace support. The role of NATO is a political and military structure is to provide the political authority and joint military planning required to enable national forces to carry out these tasks as well as the organizational agreements needed for their joint command control the training and exercising. तो ये सब हो गया. उसके बाद बिल्डिंग सिक्योरिटी थ्रू द पार्टनरशिप की बात करें तो एन इम्पोर्टेंट एम ऑफ द नेशनल Atlantic Treaty Organization, that is NATO information, has been a strengthen the security and stability by building confidence and understanding with its former advisors through the dialogue and the cooperation. An early step in this direction was and the establishment of the North Atlantic Cooperation Council in 1991, since renamed the Euro-Atlantic Partnership Council. This has become the principal forum of the consolidation and the cooperation between NATO and non-member countries. उसके बाद फिर दिया in 1994 NATO introduced the Partnership for Peace. This is a major program designed to assist participating the countries to the restructure their armed forces to enable them to play the proper role in a democratic security. उसके बाद ये tailored to the individual needs of each country. It offers opportunity for the principal corporation in many different fields, allowing the participations to choose as much as the little form the program as their the security needs. The required activities range for the military exercise and the workshops to seminars and training sport the practice the particular the emphasis in the placed on making the military forces more the transparent and the accountable to the elaborate the exercise gained through the partnership for the peace has the contributed the significantly to the cooperation between the countries. The partnershiping the peacekeeping forces such as the stabilization forces, that is SFOR in the Bosnia and the Herzegovina on the Kosovo forces. In 1997, NATO and the Russia and the NATO and the Ukraine also placed their the bilateral cooperation on a more formal basis on the NATO Russia permanent joint council and the NATO Ukraine commissioner established a mean of the facilitating the regular consultation and the discussion on the security matters topics discussed at these the meeting range from the peacekeeping in the blanks, crisis management, and the non-proliferation for the weapons of the mass destruction to the defense conversation, environmental protection, and civil emergency planning. Both countries, along with other the partner countries, have participated in NATO peacekeeping efforts in the Bosnia and the Herzegovina in the 1999 to the sharp the defense over the NATO decision to act the military in order to the prevent a humanitarian the catastrophe in the Kosovo. The Russian Federation suspended its the participation in the NATO Russia Permanent Joint Council. However, following the end of the crisis, Russia agreed to contribute the forces of the KFOR. The Ukrainian forces have also contributed to KFOR Corporation and the consultation between the NATO and Russia in the framework of the Permanent Joint Council resumed in the 2000. और फिर बात करें नाटो इनलार्जमेंट की तो फ्रॉम द ईयरली 1990 ये मेंबर ऑफ द ईस्टर्न यूरोपियन कंट्रीज द concluded that their future security interest could best be met by joining the North Atlantic Alliance and the violence their intention of seeking the membership. Their former former partner country, the Czech Republic, Hungary, and Poland were invited to began the accession, the negotiation, and in March 1999 they become the member, the bringing the number of member countries to 19. NATO enlargement is designed to make the Europe as a whole more the secure and stable, and does not the represent a represent a threat to any country. This was made clear by the commitment of the alliance not to deploy any troops or the nuclear weapons on the territory of the new members. उसके बाद फिर बात करें तो at the Washington summit meeting in April 1999, NATO leaders the emphasized that the three new members would not be the last decisions on the further membership. Innovations are the expected at the summit meeting of the North Atlantic Council in 2002. उसके बाद फिर NATO governments have made clear throughout that the expansion of the alliance is not an the aim it in itself, but a means of the exceeding NATO security. Further upheld the accordingly, new members should not only enjoy the benefits of membership but should also be able to contribute to the overall security of all the members countries. उसके बाद फिर दिया in 1999 NATO launched a membership action plan to help the interested partner countries to prepare for the membership. The plan draws on the experience of the three newest members in the preparing to join the alliance. It offers the aspiring the members the practical advice and the assistance through their the individual partnership for peace program, and the focuses on the membership related the issues. In turn, the aspiring members are the expected to meet the certain political goals, including the peaceful resolution of the territorial disputes, respect for democratic procedures, and the rule of law, and the democratic control of their armed forces. The plan does not offer my guarantee of future membership, but it does help the country to adopt their armed forces and to prepare for the obligation and the responsibilities alliance membership would bring. उसके बाद फिर दिया है इनटू द फ्यूचर, द ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन ऑफ नेशनल अटलांटिक ट्रीटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इज नॉट कंप्लीट. It is an ongoing the process of the adoption and the reforms the aimed at the enabling the NATO to deal the effectively with new security challenges in the Euro-Atlantic area. Despite the continuing challenges, however, the NATO's core the principles will the remain the same. The principle that nations can the only ensure their the security by working together, and above all the principle that the Europe and North America are unique community of the shared values and the interest. Based on these fundamental principles, that is NATO National Atlantic Treaty Organization will the continue to play a key role as an the effective crisis manager, and as a solid framework and security corporation across the यूरो अटलांटिक एरिया. तो उम्मीद करता हूँ फ्रेंड वीडियो आप लोगों को अच्छा लगा, वीडियो को लाइक